Hi, everybody. Welcome back to episode 3 of the Two Mom Edit.
Yes, it is actually called the Two Mom Edit. Do you want to say why real quick? We changed the name from Moms Like Us to the Two Mom Edit.
So episode 1 and 2, we originally called it Moms Like Us, which I actually really like. But then you want to say what happened and why we had to change it?
So we started working with Gays with Kids, which is an organization that we absolutely love, and we'll get into that one day. But they brought it to our attention that Moms Like Us is actually the name of a super right-wing conservative moms group.
Yes.
Who are definitely anti-LGBTQ plus everything.
They're like literally the opposite of who
opposite of us. So
also then we were like, well, wait, wouldn't this be a great opportunity to be like, well, sorry, like this is going to be ours now.
Yeah, we are the Moms Like Us.
But,
yeah.
And when we first came up with the name, we actually tried to trademark it, and you checked it, and it looked fine.
Yeah,
so that's why we decided to move forward. We made our logos, we did everything.
Everything.
And then after this, the guy from Gays with Kids told us, we looked at it again, and you're like, oh my God, no, they actually have it trademarked.
Yep,
we literally can't use it.
Yeah.
So then we went back and forth, and we were like, maybe we could like do a spin-off of it, like Moms Like Us. I don't know. What were some of the...
It was, we were trying to just like kind of still have that. But then Jamie and I realized we're like, you know what? I don't even want to be associated with anything like that.
No
so we are officially now the Two Mom Edit. We still have to just fix one more logo, which is on the back of Jamie's cards. But other than that, we got everything else on the to-do list checked out.
Yeah. Oh, we also changed the back of our
That's
picture
right.
Because
That's
we
right.
previously had our nice little logo.
We should move this so you could actually see me. Okay, there we go. There I am. All right, cool.
Well, I'm just sitting here trying to make sure I look pregnant and not just like I gained 15.
Yeah, Jamie had a hard time before we even started this. How to sit, how do I not look like, I just gained 5 pounds out of nowhere.
Well, I actually already gained like almost 10.
It's okay.
That's hard. Yeah. I'm only 12 weeks pregnant.
It's all right, babe. You look great.
But there's
you're
2,
doing great.
so I could. It is what it is, I guess. But it's still hard.
It is hard, I bet, because you don't have that like full bump yet.
Yeah.
You're just in like that phase, like as if you just had a bad weekend.
Thanks
of eating.
So much. That really made me feel so much better.
But you said that to me. You said that to me. If I have one bad weekend of eating, my whole everything is different.
Say it than if you say it.
Okay. Well, you said it, so I was just reiterating that.
Well,
but
anyway,
you look
But
great.
I did check the other pregnancies. I gained like 3 pounds or 2 pounds at this point, but whatever. I have 2 healthy babies, so
that's right.
We'll roll with it.
And thank you for carrying them. I have no desire.
You're very welcome.
Never wanted to.
You're welcome.
Okay. Let's rock and roll this episode.
That's the only update in our life is that we are now 12 weeks pregnant. We officially announced it. Everybody knows. Our last episode aired just a few days ago, and so now everybody knows that we're having twinsies.
Yep.
Right? All right. So
and the new name, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the new name. And so now we're called the Two Mom Edit, which I also think's like very appropriate.
Yep. It sounds.
I like it.
Sounds like us,
You like
too.
it?
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Give me a kiss. We got to kiss before we actually officially
get in trouble for the microphone not being right again.
I'll come up to you. Okay. All right. Let's go. Okay. Let's have some fun with this. Oh, jeez. My chair.
This is why.
Gotta get perfectly so Jamie doesn't say I told you. Okay.
Well, if I get up, it's gonna like move my pants.
I got you. All right, let's rock and roll. Here we go.
So today we're gonna be talking all about how we balance marriage and parenting, right? And how we keep the spark alive.
That's right. It definitely is very tricky to keep the spark alive in a relationship after you have kids, and even just I think a long-term relationship in general.
Oh yeah.
So I think this is a topic that a lot of people could relate to.
Yes, I guess
in all types of relationships,
right, exactly.
But especially as 2 women, we deal with different things, internally, and I think externally too, actually. So I'm excited to talk about this as we still continue to navigate it ourselves and figure out what keeps our relationship alive. So
definitely,
yeah. So let's get into it.
Yeah, and I feel like we've had so many different seasons of our life, and each season we found a different way to navigate this. So I'm really excited to dive deep into this topic, talk about some things that we do that we've learned will help us throughout the years. And now we've been together we just had our anniversary this week.
We just had our anniversary, and real quick, this is something you shouldn't do, actually. When you're in a relationship for a long time, you shouldn't give each other a card and then not open it on the day of the anniversary. I brought our cards that we still didn't open on our anniversary.
You brought them here?
I brought them here to surprise you. That's terrible.
We
so
do this with
step
every
one,
single holiday.
open your
We're
cards.
So bad. All right, so what happened was basically that I had a card on time, remembered to get it before, filled it out ahead of time. Monday night, our anniversary was on Tuesday. And then Lisa, I saw, had my card out. It was written out, sealed. It was on the island in the kitchen.
It's very tricky though when you're together a long time because you don't know what to say in the next card. The best card I ever gave you was you opened the card and it said, "Look at me because I'm going to tell you everything I feel."
Yeah, and then I stole that once because I just
That was
didn't
a good.
have time to.
That
fill
was
out the
also a
card.
good way to not have to like rewrite the whole entire thing from like 2 months prior, because you know how I feel about you. But card is nice, but that was actually a good idea.
Well, it's like especially because our anniversary is right before Mother's Day, so you're gonna have to say the
Right.
same things. But now at least Carmela's old enough that she could write her own card, so
Yeah.
it takes some pressure.
yes, yes,
Takes
yes.
some pressure off of us.
So we still didn't open our cards, so don't
That's
follow
really
that
funny
tip.
that you brought them here.
I brought them. We're gonna open them maybe.
Maybe we'll open it at the end of the episode. You're gonna read mine on it. I would have put a little bit more effort into. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. No. And I know when you're rushing it too.
That's not nice.
I know. All right. Let's rock and roll.
Aw.
Okay, ways to keep
Well,
the
that's definitely
relationship
inspiring
alive.
to keep it alive. Way to start this conversation.
You gotta open the cards. For
All right,
sure.
so I
The
guess
day got
like,
away. That was a tricky day with the kids.
It is. We're really going to be talking a lot today about how things changed a lot once kids came into the picture,
Yeah.
and how we are able to manage growing our relationship, which is something I actually take a lot of pride in. I feel like we're constantly putting in a lot of work to be better for each other and for our kids. So I feel like I am very proud of the effort we put in to grow our marriage and our relationship, even after being married for 8 years and together for 13 and having 2 kids, being pregnant with 2 more. I love how we care about being better for each other every single day,
Yeah.
right?
And actually, my marriage in my marriage vows, I said I promise to always put you first before our children, because I'm a big believer that you have to have a solid foundation with your partner, and then that trickles down to everything else. So in my vows, I think some people were a little like, really, before your kids? But I said I'll put you before our future children.
And I totally agree. I feel like if you don't put your spouse first of all, you're modeling a relationship for your child and what a marriage should look like.
Right.
And there's so much that goes into that, how they expect others to respect them and how they should be treated and how they should treat others and how they should respect others. So I feel like if you don't have that between the two of you, I don't see how they could grow up having a healthy relationship.
And then also like the fun too, that they should be with somebody and have fun with them as well.
Yeah.
You know, and
That's
want
our
to
other
spend
like
time.
main motto, right? Is that like life's supposed to
Life
be
is
fun.
supposed to be fun. Yeah, for sure.
All right, so I want to talk about some of the tips that we do to, like I said, I'm proud of everything that we do to make sure that our relationship stays strong, even though I think we've shared a gazillion times on previous episodes how we have fought so many times throughout the years.
Yeah.
But I feel like every time
No,
we
we've been
fight, we-
together 13 years,
Yeah.
but those pockets of a rough patch,
Mhm.
they just organically come up when you're talking about different seasons of your life,
Of
because
course.
that's what happens in certain seasons of our lives.
Well, we're talking
you know?
about like big, huge transitions,
Huge
right? So, like,
transitions.
transitions
High
are
stress
stressful,
times.
and
Yeah.
and again, it's a transition. So you're learning so much, and you're doing it with somebody else like by your side, and so
Yeah.
you have to navigate that separately and then together.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I'd be shocked if somebody didn't have a newborn and didn't fight. I'd be like, something's
Yeah.
wrong with you.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
You know?
But overall, for the past 13 years, I mean, we have had, I would say, a lot of big transitions and a lot of big moves.
Definitely. Oh gosh, we moved like 18 times.
I
in the
know.
last-
I know.
We
I
have-
know.
We have serious issues.
I know. We move a lot. But actually, this one is going to be our overall home for a while.
Yeah,
So.
for a while. We can't ever say forever because you never know.
You
But like
never
fun
know.
fact, we moved like 4 times in the last like 3 years.
Right. That'll be another episode.
Episode number
So
562.
Right.
All right, so let's talk about some different things we do to carve out time for each other, right?
Okay.
And to keep growing. So how do we manage to get alone time when we have kids at home?
Okay. So one thing that I personally look forward to is after the kids are in bed, right?
Yeah.
So we try to get them to bed, bath around 7,
Mm-hmm.
bed 7:30, but
Mhm.
with books and reading to Carmela, and she convinces me to read another one, or Francesca wanting another song on Alexa, it's really like 8 o'clock. But if we
It
could get
somehow
them,
creeped later and later over
I
the
know.
last few months.
I know.
But you know what? One of our friends, I saw her at pickup the other day. We were talking about pickup bedtime routines.
Yeah.
She said both of her kids are sleeping by 6:30,
Wow.
and one of them is older. They're like in the second grade. I'm like,
Wow.
ooh, because as Carmela got older, I feel like her bedtime got a little bit later too. But Francesco's still too. Carmela was sleeping at.
I can't picture him going to bed at 6:30.
No, I think 6:30. We're still like wrapping up dinner.
Yeah,
We're still
yeah,
having
yeah.
fun together. But I think that we could try to get them sleeping again by 7:15.
And time just goes
But
by.
then now the
you
summer's
know?
coming, right?
And
Summer's
summer,
always later. All right,
and then we're
after
also
the
having
summer.
fun with them too. And we're also kind of like,
know.
if the bath is longer, I think we're like good where we're at without being like sticklers with it.
Yeah,
you know
but
what
you
I
know
mean?
what? Once the summer's over and we're preparing for the twins to come in the fall, I
Yeah.
am being like 6:58. Everyone's in the bath.
Everybody's in the bed, and they'll be tired, more tired too, because they'll be playing outside and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like you're sleeping.
All right, so I look forward to that time, because then we always make sure that we have our time together.
Yes,
It's not, and
definitely.
it's like silly things like getting into a good show together. We went on like a little binge of like finding really good. Some were trippy movies that like sat in your head. Remember, we watched that. What was it called? Menu.
Oh
Or
my
the
God, that
food-
movie was horrible. I had
was it Menu?
nightmares.
The Menu.
Yeah, I think so.
And the other one, anyway,
hated it.
it was so trippy.
We
But we were
watched it, but,
glued. The
ugh.
cool thing is we were both glued to the TV. So mentally, we were both in like the same wall. Like we were bonding really over that. Like not
Yes.
just watching like a crappy show. And
But
we had
also-
popcorn.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so
We love-
times
we
like
love our
that, I
night
look
times.
forward to those. I look forward to that time together with you just being next to me and then a cuddle. And, I look forward to that,
Yeah,
so
you love
that's
cuddling.
important. Yeah. Jamie's not so much of a cuddler, but she's gotten a lot better over the
I
years.
try.
She's gotten better. So
But,
thank you for
and
working
so
on that.
something else that we do though is like after we eat dinner, right? We usually let the kids go in the playroom for a few minutes, or maybe watch a read aloud on TV while we clean up together.
Yep.
And so sometimes that's even a time for us to connect, right? Because like as one of us is sweeping the floor, one of us is taking, putting the dishes away or whatever it is, and we're usually like talking about any updates we have throughout the day.
Right.
Or like things that happen with the kids, or just touching base about things, just chatting, right? Like small chat.
And just honestly,
Usually-
like just doing something together
Yeah,
is
but
nice
the
because we
other-
spend the day apart overall with like
Exactly.
work and whatnot. So like coming together is good there.
Without like the kids being right on top of
Right,
us.
right.
The other nice thing is that because we get everything done before we bring the kids upstairs, it's like once the kids are
Everything's
sleeping,
done. No dish
ha-
in the sink.
yeah,
we're
we don't even
sick-
do lunches or anything after that. Once the kids go to sleep, there's
Yeah.
no other errands that have to be done at home.
Yeah, we do dedicate that time.
Yeah,
You're right, actually.
I think it's
now I think
important.
about
We
it.
really like kind of run around like a little bit crazy for a half hour straight, getting everything like perfect before we bring the kids upstairs.
But
But
it's
I
like a
like-
race always. It's like how
and I-
fast can we get up
Yeah,
there?
and then if we finish fast, then we have more time to play with the kids before they go upstairs. But
Right.
it's nice because, like, again, once the kids are sleeping,
Yeah.
we're able to chill, hang out, watch a movie, maybe have a nighttime snack.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different now that I'm pregnant because
Right.
I've been so tired that I've been staying up a little bit later, actually, the last few weeks. And
little
by
bit.
later, I mean 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I know. And it's tricky though because my routine completely changed, because I was doing the progesterone shot for you.
Yeah.
So it was shot, rub it out, rub the air 15 minutes, then shot, then rub it for 15 minutes. So
When
like
you said
then
rub it out, it just didn't sound like
No,
appropriate.
rub your butt area for 15 minutes. Alcohol, do the shot, and then rub it again. And then by then it's like
Can you just
kind
explain
of-
what you mean by rub my shot area? Like
Oh.
because like when you inject the progesterone, it makes like a knot.
It makes a knot in your
Like, 'cause you
so
have to
it
do it,
makes
like,
a
in your
knot
muscle.
in there makes a knot in your muscle.
so it feels like a big
every
hard
night
ball, like in my
I
Kool-Aid.
break that up. Yes, I break up that
The
for
motions.
Jamie.
I can't.
Yes.
Just put your hands down. Leave the mic.
Why? Oh my gosh. All right. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. So I do the
I
shot,
always
so
laugh
it's
when
tough.
I always laugh when we do these podcasts. And if you rewatch episodes 1 and 2, sometimes you'll say things, and I'm like, people don't know. Like, and I say what she means by this.
Oh.
And it's just so funny because when you say things like out of context, if people have no idea what you're talking about, it just sounds
Got
so
it.
funny.
Okay.
No, you don't have to change anything. I
All
think
right.
it's cute.
Okay. Well, I'm going to I can't change anything. I'm 40
Like
years
if somebody
old.
just looked at one part and you're like, when you rub it out, somebody's
Okay.
going to be like, what kind of podcast is this?
The 2-mom edit. Raunchy.
Ew,
Anyway,
huh?
when you rub out, you get what I'm saying. All right, you get what I'm saying. Okay, so my bedtime basically is now when I'm done with that. So we don't really have that as
and it like
much of
puts
a
me to
fun.
sleep as
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, but now we're done with our shots because
Yeah.
now we're post 12 weeks, so no more IVF meds, which is a win. I'm kind of sad that we don't have to do any more shots at night because it puts me to sleep when you're like rubbing.
All right. Well, you know what?
But I still have to do the Lovenox, but there's nothing to rub after that.
Right.
Lovenox
Okay.
is
I'll
the
give you a
blood thinner
massage
that I'm on.
after. I'll give you a massage after.
Fine.
All right.
When you at night, I'm gonna just like click this part of the podcast that you just said that.
Okay. I will. I'll give you a quick massage.
No,
I
I'm
didn't say
just
how long it
joking.
was. I didn't say
No.
if I would massage your pinky for 30 seconds. and
No,
go
but
to
last
bed.
night you offered me a massage even after the shot
Yeah.
because my back was hurting and you offered, and that was
Yeah,
nice.
you were really in pain last night.
I was. I know. Oh my gosh, I'm
You
a
were
little
crying and
nervous about that.
everything. No, it's good. It's
Well, I
good.
mean, I'm nervous because it's so early for my back to hurt, but I think my hormones are just like making my body looser.
Yeah.
But hopefully, it's like short lived.
There's going to be all these different changes that come up, I think, with twins too, so just have an open mind, we'll be positive about it all.
Yeah. I mean, I've been
so-
feeling significantly better the last time we came into the city to film our podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I was like feeling horrible, right?
Yeah.
Like but I've been feeling great. So
Yeah.
that's good. Now we're into the second trimester.
Thank God.
All right. So managing time. How do we manage time? So we definitely spend time together every night. We love doing that. We also prioritize, like, even if it's just right now, it's mostly just dinner dates because I don't really have tons of energy to do other things. But we love going out to new restaurants together.
Yep.
What are some other? Sometimes we'll even like throw in going to the movie theater, but that's only happened a few times,
A
right?
couple of times.
Because we're like, oh, we're gonna get a babysitter to watch a movie when we could just do
I know,
that at home.
I know, but I really liked it.
But we enjoy
A couple
it.
weeks ago, we took a walk together, which was nice.
That was
just
nice.
us two, and it was short. It was short, but it was still like just connecting, and then just randomly calling each other throughout our day. It's not like the most romantic things to keep our relationship alive, but there's still that connection. And then
It's just
as long
making
as,
the effort to connect,
just
right?
to connect, like we're together, and
And
you don't have
spending
one life
time-
and I have one life. Like you don't have one life as Jamie working, taking care of the kids, and Lisa working. Like it's just that togetherness. You know?
And spending time together when the kids are not present.
Right.
Because sometimes we'll be like, oh my gosh, we haven't been without the kids alone. So the other day, for example, I had to drive like 20 minutes to Southern Bergen County to drop something off or pick up a lockbox or something.
Yeah.
And you offered to come with me. And you were
I
like, I'll
did
just
offer
work
to
in the
go
car
with
just
you.
so we could be together. And I thought that was really sweet.
And we had a good time there, just talking.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
You didn't get
to
any
just,
work done.
No, I knew I wasn't. But it's so easy just to like disconnect in a marriage and
Definitely.
relationship. So I think just talking and hanging out together is good.
So yeah, basically
And not and
making-
scrolling too, like not really scrolling, even though there's such thing as like a fun scroll, But yeah, just hanging.
I think,
little thing.
making the time to make sure that you guys are together and connecting at least once a day, if your schedule allows, definitely more,
Yeah.
just to be connecting without the kids interrupting, whether it's 10 minutes.
I think our
or-
biggest time is at nighttime.
Definitely.
And we know that that's our time.
Definitely. I totally agree.
One thing I do want to work on though for us though is if you notice I've been like cuddling you more because over time like I kind of just like would roll on this side after roll on this just because it's like a little comfier for me. But I've been working on like coming around you more and more. and
Well, you
more,
know
if
why that's good?
noticed.
I'm going to tell you why.
And also like if Carmela would come in our bed, I think I started just like
That's exactly what
hanging
happened.
and yeah,
Okay,
and then
so-
just rolling and going to bed.
So
Yeah,
this is
sorry.
what happened. Since we started dating, and since the first night we had like a sleepover, right?
Yeah.
We always were touching. And I remember the longer we were together,
We told your
Even
dad,
when-
I just wanted to say there, we told your dad, I remember one time on the phone that we never want to get a queen size bed. This is when we were in like, I think a full bed in my apartment
yes,
because it was too big.
yes.
We wanted a twin bed just
But
so we
so,
had to. I remember saying
I
that to him,
do
which is
like,
so funny.
sometimes it's harder for me to fall asleep if I'm like cuddling, depending on my mood, right? But we
Yeah.
always had at least a leg touching, like a foot.
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah,
something,
yeah, the
right? So
foot,
then
yeah.
what happened was when we lived in an apartment for a year while we were building our house. And in that year, it was only 2 bedrooms. So one of the kids were always sleeping with us, which was totally new for us. We never really did any co-sleeping before.
Right.
And I feel like that year really threw like our sleeping patterns for a loop
Yeah, and our
because
connection. Yeah.
we stopped like touching each other at night because there was a kid between us.
Right.
And so I think now that we're like,
Yeah, we
In
used
a
to like
different
crawl
si-
for a foot.
Yeah, exactly.
Easily
Now that we're in
try
a
to
different
navigate.
situation, I feel like we're making the effort to
Yeah.
put those things back in place, because that actually brings me to my next question. Like, what's your strategy for staying intimate and connected? And it really is things like that, like
Touch.
small little touch, letting the other one know that you're loved just by like putting your hand. Sometimes you'll put your hand on my back, and I'm like, oh, that's so nice.
And you know what's sad is when like you're in a bit of a bout, you know, of just like stress and life and
Mm-hmm.
the kids, is like when your partner does do that too, and you're like, oh wow, it's been a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But doesn't
because
that put
we've
our-
just been going.
that gives us like a
but that's
little
the-
reminder, right? That
that's
you're
the
like, oh, I have
effort.
to do it again. Yeah.
Yeah, and just like just that touch, exactly.
Mhm.
You know, I think,
And so I think this question kind of like we should talk a little bit about like different love languages, because I
Oh,
know
yeah.
we're familiar with that book that describes all the different love languages, but
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of people have heard that. And I'll say it again, we do put a lot of effort into like trying to learn about ourselves and each other and trying to be better. But somebody gave us that book
your cousin.
when we, my
Dana.
cousin Dana, when we were engaged, or right when we got married. I think it was right when we got engaged, and we never read the thing.
I think I
cover
changed.
to cover, but we
no,
did.
I think I changed my love language.
Really?
Yeah. You want to tell them what I always thought I said it was, but
That
I
it
think,
was touch.
I think, or maybe I'm changing it now.
I think I know what you're going to say. Can I guess?
Yeah.
I think it's a combination. That's probably it. Could be okay.
Oh, combination. Okay, I could do
Maybe.
that.
I don't know. Why don't we just make it
I
up?
don't know if I could do that.
I think the point of
Why do they do that? You got to pick one love
No, you
language.
know what?
Like,
I
yeah,
think-
I want
I
all the
think
love
the point
languages.
of
I actually, yeah, all the love language.
Don't
Okay.
be so needy. No.
I
I think
like
the
'em
point
all.
of the love languages is that you can understand what your partner needs, because we're all people and we all have needs.
I know
right?
exactly what I need. You tell
Words
me
of
what
affirmation.
words of affirmation.
Words
What
of
exactly are words of
Wait,
affirmation?
does it
Let's
mean
break that down.
Like I would think acknowledgement. You love when
Acknowledgement. You know what I like too lately, especially as I get older?
What?
Compliments.
Wait, I think that's
compliments.
what I'm. Oh, you mean not about
Just
things you're doing,
compliments,
you mean
like physical compliments.
Okay, yeah, that- I
because
wasn't
once you
guessing
start
that.
to get like, listen, I'm 40, I'll be 41. You know, you can't help but think, what?
Hey,
Oh my
wait,
gosh.
your
you
hair
know?
looks so nice today.
You can't bullshit me and say that right now like this. But no, I do want a good,
Well, look, now I didn't realize that was important to you right now.
yeah. Well, we just heard it here, folks. Gonna get a lot of compliments now.
No,
But yeah,
see,
compliments,
that's
words of
kind the
affirmation,
point
and
though,
touch,
right?
yeah.
Like the point of keeping the spark alive in your marriage, even when you have kids, is like you have to make sure you're still paying attention to
Gotta
your
do that
spouse.
effort. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It takes effort. It's
Does
not
take
easy.
effort, and then that communication. But then you have to also feel like there's a space where you could say something like that without the person turning around and saying, "What do you mean words of affirmation? I always give you words of affirmation."
Right.
You know
You
what I'm
have
saying?
to
We went through
That
things
is
like that
so
though.
true. Yeah, but that's
You
so
know?
true, because you can't be defensive because it's your partner's needs.
Yeah.
You have to listen to them. That's their feeling. It's kind of the same thing as a parent, right? Like sometimes kids sound irrational to you, but it's what they're actually feeling. Their feelings are valid and they're real to them.
Right.
It's the same thing in a marriage. Like sometimes I'll get mad at something you keep saying about how I'm like, emotional, extra emotional because I'm pregnant. But whether you're PMSing or pregnant, like those feelings are
Yeah.
real to you in that moment. You
True.
need to feel validated, whether you think I'm sounding crazy or not, or you think I'm sounding dramatic or not. Like I feel that, and it's real to me.
Right.
And so, regardless of how your hormones are, I
That's
feel
a tricky
like
thing with the partnership though, because it's like the other person wants to feel right and wants to feel heard, that they didn't mean it like that, or how you took it is different, So I think marriage really is work, It really
wouldn't
is
you
work.
say though, accepting or like being able to not always be right is probably the biggest game changer in our
Biggest
marriage.
thing.
When our
Big.
marriage like kind of went to the next level of maturity,
Yeah.
that was definitely a huge.
And
like,
also,
growth.
you know what too for us? It was knowing, not saying that we think we're right, letting it go, but then not holding the grudge for 2 weeks after that. Or a month after that.
I still hold grudges a little bit, but I'm
we
trying.
both do, but we don't show it as much. Like if we get a little like pissy, whatever, like okay, I'm not saying anything else. It could be like that mad anger, awkward silence.
Sometimes you
with the
just have
quiet-
to let it go.
And then like lately I'm trying to like bring up different things. You're trying to bring up a different conversation in like a high tone. So it's like you're making it clear that like you're not so mad about it, But there's small things. It's
sometimes
about like
there's just small things though that are just
it's
not worth you saying.
small,
I have a good
right.
example.
right.
This morning,
This morning.
Francesco was all upset.
That's what made me think about it.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
So this morning, Francesco was so upset when I got him out of his crib because his diaper went through. He had like a huge
my God.
like poop explosion, which never happens when he sleeps. And he was so upset when I took him out of his crib and I went to go change him. And you came in and you like were trying to take over.
That's not. I wasn't trying to take over.
That's how it felt.
I'm sorry. I felt like that. I came in and I wanted to console him also because I felt like you had.
I hear that.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point is we like kind of we didn't really get into an argument, but you could tell that I was annoyed. And
You were pissed.
Yeah. And
So
then
what did I do?
walked away. But then you sounded annoyed for the next like hour. But we didn't talk about it. And you know what?
I didn't sound annoyed. I walked around a little annoyed.
Okay.
I was making their lunches a little annoyed.
For the next hour, you definitely were annoyed, but I was also annoyed. And so what did we do though?
We put in the effort just to talk about. You did a really good job.
We just didn't talk about it.
We didn't talk about it. We talked about like other silly things, you know.
Because it was like we both knew that it was just if we started.
That
to
was
talk
actually
about,
real effort
that
right
was
there.
good.
We nailed that one.
I was pretty impressed with that because that could have easily started to spiral. But we were both like, "Is
man.
it worth it? Was it really?" I knew it
That's a
wasn't
good
like
point.
you didn't really do something that was like bad. I didn't do something that was bad. We were just like annoyed with each other's actions in the moment. And I feel
And
like
we
that's a
moved
great
on.
piece of advice, regardless
is
of
the
the type
piece
of
of advice.
relationship you're in. Just pick and choose your battles.
Yeah.
Some things are just not important to win.
That was good. We didn't even plan on talking
That
about
was so
this.
good.
We didn't even plan on talking about
Well,
this.
we would have sat here and had a really shitty podcast
I
because we would have been like mad at each
know.
other still.
No, we moved on though from
Yeah,
it.
that was good.
All right, I'm proud of us.
Yeah,
All
me
right.
too.
So
So
relationships
that kind of goes
take
with
work.
like my next question. It's how do we?
Oh wait,
keep-
what's your love language?
Oh, I like words of affirmation. Acknowledgement. Is it words of acknowledgement?
Do I do good there with that? Overall better?
You definitely put the effort in, especially since I like told you that a few years ago that was important to me. I think you put the effort in to do that.
We should read that book like really like again, like well actually from front to back.
You could just watch this podcast.
That's right. No, but we should read the words about the love languages book to really see like
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
13 years later or 8 years later.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's go.
So how do we keep the communication lines open, especially when we're both tired? Well, I think we just spoke a little bit about that, right? Like, well, sometimes you just have to tell each other. You just have to sit down and say it. But you have to, their listening spouse,
Yeah.
a listening partner has to not be defensive and has to have an open heart.
Yeah.
Has to be.
And I've also noticed, like in relationships, it's very easy to see who is more tired, who is more outworked, right? And then you're just, so it's like you come home and say, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I had the longest day. Then the other partner says, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I had the longest day. This happened, this happened. And then it's like a battle of who had the worst day, which isn't even good for like law of attraction work. It's not good for positivity
like,
or good energy.
Who worked harder with the kids? Who
worked
did more
harder
of
with the
this? Who took
yeah.
care of the kids more? Who, whatever.
Cutting that out,
We cut that out a few years
knowing
ago,
for
too.
yourself what you've done that day is I think that's really helpful
I think
too.
that's actually a great point to bring up, that people should really pay attention to how they're expressing themselves to their spouse, because there's a difference between just like trying to what is that word that I'm looking for?
like
vent?
outwork. Oh yeah.
There's a
vent.
difference
Right,
between
right.
trying to vent and trying to like prove to your partner that you worked your ass off. Your partner knows that you have worked hard because you're a mom or a spouse or you have a job. Your partner already knows that you worked your ass off today for your family.
Right.
That's it. You don't need to prove it.
Right.
We had that for a long time. And eventually, I feel like I don't really know how we figured out to stop doing that. I think we just had so many conversations about it
Yeah.
that eventually we stopped doing it. And I think that was another game changer for our relationship.
Be careful. Yeah. Watch how you vent and how much you vent.
Yeah,
And there's a different way of venting, and then just also just talking about your thoughts and your feelings and emotions.
definitely.
It's like real quick. It's like when you know the friend that you would call and you would say, oh my gosh, I fell, I broke my leg. And then that person says, really? Oh my gosh. Well, guess what? I broke 2 of my legs, my elbow, my arm, my head.
We know some other people
we
like
know,
that.
We know the person that does that. So you don't want to be that person,
Yeah, especially
So,
with your spouse.
I think that's actually a good tip.
those
you
types
know.
of small things, I feel like, is what
What
makes in the what makes your long-term relationship stronger.
What about just a sentence like, I know you had a long day today. I love you. Give me a kiss. We're here together. I think that's a nice way to just like, beep. Acknowledgement, but also connection again.
Yeah.
And
Even
we
if
could-
you
we
want to
could
be
even
like,
do
oh my
that, too.
God, I had a horrible day and I da-da-da-da-da, just maybe wait an hour when you're not, acknowledge your spouse first.
Yeah.
And then if you really feel like you want to share the hard day that you had also, or all the effort you put into everything also,
Yeah.
maybe an hour later or a few hours later,
And
then
then
you could
yeah.
share your point of view.
And to your point, when that person vents, they kind of just feel better too. And it doesn't mean as much as when you let it out too.
Right.
It's not going to carry it with them inside of them, you know. So
Right.
we got a lot better at that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question I wanted to ask is what happens when parenting stress spills over into our relationship? Well, that's a common one.
That's a common one. All right, Jamie, you can
Sometimes,
go.
obviously, everybody knows it can be so stressful to be a parent at times. Like, depending on your child's behavior, it could make or break your day.
Yeah.
But sometimes, if I'm having a really hard time with one or both of the kids, and it's not like they're necessarily not being good, just sometimes they're very overstimulating, and like say they're being super silly together and like just yelling and dancing, but not listening to what I'm saying, even though they're being cute and like playing together and being siblings, which we love. Sometimes I'm like, but we need to leave the house.
Right.
And this is stressful. So sometimes, for example, that could happen and then it puts you in a bad mood, right?
Yeah. Then you
So
feel bad that you yelled at them when they were just being kids and having fun.
Yes. But
It's the worst.
sometimes,
It's the worst.
but sometimes if you just
So
had
we
a
have
really long,
responsibilities.
if you just had a really long day with a whole bunch of things like that,
Yeah.
and then your spouse comes into the picture, sometimes it's really hard to not take that stress out on your partner. Again, like you just said, you're trying not to yell at your kids. You're trying not to over discipline them when they're really just being children, and you could take it out on your spouse.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, what do you think is a good tip for people to make sure that they are managing their stress and not taking it out on their spouse?
To be understanding, because if you're both parents raising kids, we both know what that feels like.
Mm-hmm.
So if Carmela, or not really Francesco, he's still a baby to me, you know, but
Yeah.
if Carmela does something that's just like knows how to just like
Oh, yes.
dig it, you know, she's the queen, my way, my rules. She know it, like, and I'm frustrated from it. You just have to know that you know how I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
And then there's that connection there that you both are going through it and you supporting each other while you both are just kind of like in the mode of being a parent.
I think understanding.
It's not easy being a parent, and it's probably going to get, you know, a little trickier as they get older, you know, and they're on their own, but we support each other, then you could kind of, that's another connection actually that you could build on.
Yeah. I think being
Like
understanding.
being each other's like, I know what's up. I know what you're feeling right now.
I think being understanding is a good point.
Yeah.
And I think that I used to, like, if you're angry at, if you're stressed because you're dealing with something with the kids,
Oh my gosh.
you-
Or work.
and you give me an attitude.
No.
You knew where I was going
feel
with
like
that?
I know exactly.
So
where
for a
you're
long
going.
time, I mean, still sometimes I'm like, why do you got to give me an attitude because you're mad about blah, blah, blah? Like, just don't take it out on me.
Yeah.
But I think that when it comes to the kids, I think I got better, and I think it's a good reminder for people to think about. If your spouse is talking to you, but you know that you really didn't do anything wrong,
It's
but they just
them.
sound like they're giving an attitude, just don't take it personally.
100%.
So I'm getting better with that, I think, because I used
Yeah.
to get so offended.
I was like, what are you talking about? I'm not mad at you. I'm just pissed
I'm
off
like-
because this in my
And then it
business
would like
and
be a
that,
trigger to you,
and
be like me
and
saying,
then
why are
you
you
saying,
so
why
mad?
are you mad at me? I'm like, no, don't say, why are you mad at me?
You used to get. Oh
I
my God,
used
it's
to
like such a trigger to
right
you.
when you would say why, it was like slow motion. Why are you mad at me?
Well, you've told me many times that that's like a trigger. So
It's not you.
So
I'm just pissed about this.
I don't
asshole
say it as
that I
much
dealt
anymore.
with.
Yeah.
That's so
So
funny.
both
I
sides.
appreciate you
One-
bringing that up.
One,
actually,
as a spouse, try
'Cause
to
I
be,
think
you
other
know,
people
try to be
relate to that.
aware of not taking your stress out on your partner. But if they do that, then partner, know that you've done the same thing.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No, 100%. 100%. It's funny as we talk about it because it just shows like how much work has to go into a marriage and a relationship.
Yeah.
And parenting. It's a lot of work, you know, but
Yeah.
one day we'll be 95 sitting on a rocking chair. Like, damn, cheers, we did that. You know, that's the goal.
Yeah.
That's why everybody gets married. You
Well,
want
we
that
did
one
have a
day.
psychic tell us once that we were going to live for a very, very, very long time. And
I
she
thought
also
would.
told
And
us,
I used to- oh,
she
yeah.
also said that we were going to die within like a day of each other. Like basically the same time, like either within a few
That's the
hours or
only-
like
I don't-
within a
that-
day.
Yeah, that's the only way I would want to go out. You know
I
what I'm saying?
know.
But sitting on that, but that's why people get married. You don't.
She
get
was a good
married
psychic,
to,
too.
Yeah,
We
you
should bring
don't
her on
get
the show.
married to, you know, end it, early. Your goal is to be sitting on that porch and 95 looking at the family you've built, you know, the
Yeah.
grandkids, the great grandkids. That's the goal. Why do you think people get married?
Yeah, and you're never gonna get
know?
there if
So
you're
it's
always
work,
if you're
man.
always unhappy with your spouse. It's so much work, and it's so important to grow.
And I remember there were so many times that I wanted to go to like a lesbian retreat or something, or find a couples counselor, or therapist that focus in on 2 mom families, and it was so rare, and they didn't even exist. We got to create those down the road.
Okay, so overall, the goal of our episode this week was to be able to share some insight on things that we've learned over the past 13 years and then the past 6 years since we've had kids that helped us grow our relationship and make sure that we prioritize each other, right? So do you think that we were able to share some good tips today?
I think so.
I hope so. We really
I
did
think-
learn a lot over the last 13 years, and I hope one person got something out
one
of
thing
this
from
today.
it, you know,
Yeah.
whether it's parenting, relationships, and
Yeah.
like I say, we're always putting in the work ourselves. So
I think that's probably
know,
the best tip. Always put in work.
Always
Marriage
put
is
in
not
work.
easy. It's just like we said once, like parenting doesn't come with a handbook, neither does being in a marriage.
right.
So I feel like put in the effort. That's my biggest tip. Put in the effort, do the work, follow marriage podcasts, read the books, follow the Instagrams that give tidbits every day. Whatever works for you, just don't pretend like you're perfect or your marriage is perfect. You guys need to grow together.
Right.
Always.
One thing that helped me actually, waking up and saying, today I'm going to lead with love with my partner. And that was helpful because I set an intention. I'm going to lead with love. So then you see things more in like a good kind of like loving way with your partner.
Yeah.
That was actually really helpful.
Yeah. Oh,
So.
good. All
All
right.
right.
So on our next episode, we're going to be talking kind of a spinoff off of this. We're going to be talking a little bit about parenting and like co-parenting together and how we navigate all of that.
Thank you, everybody. Please be sure to send us some questions, some ideas that you want us to cover. And yeah, we appreciate your support. And if you noticed on the last episode, I told Jamie I didn't say ciao there. Because when we wrapped up the first episode, what happened was I said, ciao. She was like, can you not say that when we wrap up the episode?
Yeah,
I'm gonna
but
call
say
you
why.
out."
Now you just make me sound mean.
No, because on all my other things that I do, whether it's my other business, the other this, I always say ciao. But I've also been saying that forever. So I'm going to wrap it up and I'm going to say,
You can say whatever you want.
all right, that's it. Ciao.